hey, the truth of the matter is the vast majority of people playing golf, they don't break 100. Well, that might be you, and that's why you're watching this video. The good news is today I'm going to give you 5 things, 5 keys that you can do to help you start breaking 100. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, Director of Instruction for US Golf TV and the Sanford Power Golf Academy. And although we watch a lot of golf on TV and we see people shooting under par, the vast majority of people playing this wonderful game of golf are not breaking 100. And if that's you, you have come to the right place because we're diving right into that. Now, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We got great content coming out each and every week. Our subscriber list is growing like crazy. The views are going up. We've got good stuff out there. And also be sure to leave some comments. I respond to all of them. I love hearing from you. And I even like hearing from those of you out there who disagree with me, because sometimes you can teach me something also. So let's dive right into it. Here we go. How to break 100. We're going to talk about 5 different things. At the end here, I'm going to give you a bonus tip that's going to help you. Now, these tips are specifically designed for people, for golfers who are not breaking 100. Tip number 1, the grip. You've got to understand how to hold the club. If you don't hold the club correctly, it is going to be difficult to swing it. This is an instrument. It's a tool. All right? Now, there are some varieties of ways to hold it, but you've got to have some of the basics in place. So let's talk about what some of those basics are. All right, number 1 is, I'm a right-handed golfer, so I'm going to go through this from a right-handed spot. You should have the club basically positioned so it kind of runs diagonal through the hand. So notice how I'm holding this right here, and I've got it at an angle, about a 45-degree angle, and I'm positioning the pad of my hand kind of on the top, and it's going across my hand like so, and it's exiting out kind of on my, right here in the middle knuckle of my index finger right there, all right? And I've got the thumb basically on top. So the key here is when you hold the club, get it up here at eye level, put it at a 45-degree angle, angle your hand like this, positioned on there, put the thumb on top, slide the right hand down, bring the hands together, all right? So the hands basically look something like this, and you are going to be pretty close. Now, that's pretty short and sweet. All right, and we have a couple videos, great videos that go in depth on the grip and how to hold it. If you want more depth information, be sure to check those out. But tip number 1 is you got to understand how to hold the club. Those are a couple ways to do that. Now, tip number 2, if you're trying to break 100, stance. How should my stance be? All right, we're going to keep it simple. Think athletic. Think of playing basketball, volleyball, soccer, softball, anything you're doing. Almost all sports, all right, your knees are a little bent, your toes are flared out, and you got some bend at the hip, so your arms just kind of hang in front of you. It's the same way in golf. From this angle here, all right, I've got my feet about shoulder width apart, my toes are flared a little bit, knee bend, hip bend, and my arms just fall right here, okay? Pretty simple. Don't overcomplicate the stance. Get athletic, get set up, feel lively, feel ready to go, and you're going to be in a good position there. So those are the first 2 tips. We've talked a little bit about the grip. We're talking a little bit about the stance. Now let's talk about the swing. Now, this video is not long enough to dive into all the different things, and my truth of the matter is if you're probably trying to break 100, you've got more swing advice than you need. But I'm going to give you the one key to trying to break 100, and that is balance. You've got to be in balance. Now, how do you know if you're in balance? Do this one thing. When you finish the swing, make sure that your knees are touching. Notice how my knees are touching. So when I finish my swing, I can hold the finish and my knees are touching. If you can do that one thing, I guarantee it's going to help you make a better golf swing than you're making right now. So the third suggestion is being in balance. But how do you know you're in balance? Well, when you finish your swing, your knees are touching and you're facing the target. That would be the tip number 3. Now, leave some comments. I don't know if you like those first couple or maybe you've got a couple other ones that have worked well for you. You might be like, hey, you know, I used to shoot 110. I did this one thing and now I'm shooting in the 90s. Be sure to share that in the comments because we love hearing from you on those, and you're probably helping out your fellow golfer. All right, let's keep moving along because time is important. Number 4 here, I have down master the 4. Master the 4. Now, what does I mean by that? In a golf bag, you are allowed to have 14 clubs. Now, if you're trying to break 100, there is no way in heck you're going to be able to master 14 clubs because you're trying to break 100. What you want to do is master 4 of them. Now, which four should you be able to master in order to break 100? All right, number one is you got to have something I'm just going to call here for the T-ball. Now, that might be a driver, it might be a 3-wood, might be a 5-wood, might be a hybrid. I don't know. But you've got to have one club that you can hit off the tee on a par 4, on a par 5 that gets the ball somewhere out there and in play. It's probably a driver for most of you, but that's club number one you got to master. Club number 2 is I'm just going to put down here a 7-iron as an example. And this is going to kind of lead into tip number 5 here in just a second. So these kind of flow together here. But I think that most people, if they could just hit a solid 7-iron and hit it and get it up in the air, they should almost just hit that after their tee shot all the time. Even if they can't get that club to the green. Let's say it's 200 yards. Like, I can't hit my 7-iron 200 yards. But you know what? They can hit their 7-iron every time. It's in the air. It goes 140 yards down the fairway. Well, if you just do that, okay, if you master that, you're going to be breaking 100. And we're going to talk a little bit more depth in that when we get into the course management. So that would be the second club you need to master. All right, the third one that you need to master is the sand wedge. Okay, or a pitching wedge, whatever you want. Sand wedge, pitching wedge. Why? Because that's the club that you use around the green for chipping. All right, you're going to have a lot of chip shots, pitch shots. These are the shots right around the green. You've got to be comfortable with that club so you can chip the ball on the green, get it up in the air, get out of the bunker, whatever the situation might be, and keep moving the round forward and keep progressing closer to the hole. So that would be it. And then number 4, as you can guess, is the putter. All right, you got to be able to putt. You're going to putt on every hole. All right, so let's think about this. We can try to master 14 clubs, but there's really 4 different types of shots you're going to hit on almost every hole. And these 4 shots will cover 90% of what you're going to face. You're always going to have some form of a tee shot. You're always going to have some form of a second shot. So let's use the 7-iron, get comfortable. You're almost always going to be chipping, and you're going to putt on every hole. So if you can master those 4, you're going to cover the vast majority of shots that you hit. So let's talk about how that leads into number 5, and then we're going to get into the bonus one here at the end. All right. So number 5 is course management. So let me paint a scenario, because my guess is this has probably happened to you. You hit a good tee ball, but it's a little bit in the rough, and the grass is kind of long, and you've got 200 yards. So your buddy says, hey, hit your 5-iron, it's 200 yards. So you take out your 5-iron, you top it, it rolls down into the rough another 20 yards down the fairway. They say, all right, hey, try it again. You still got 180 yards. So you hit the same club again, and you dribble it down there, or you scull it over into the trees, all right? And this process plays on and on. So when it comes to course management, what you've got to understand is, as somebody who's trying to break 100, what am I capable of doing? Don't try to hit shots that you just can't hit. 5-irons out of the rough. 3-woods out of the deep grass. Okay? 3-irons on a par 3. These are shots that we just don't have in our bag. We don't have the skill set. But if I can just hit a 7-iron every single time, and it's in the air and it's 130 yards, I'm at least moving forward and I'm progressing towards a hole. And we've already know that you're a good putter and you can chip the ball. You'll be amazed that all of a sudden you'll get done playing around a golf, and I guarantee you've shot a lower score. So when it comes to course management, do not fall into the trap of thinking, hey, I'm 200 yards, I got to hit a 3-wood. Hit the clubs that you're most comfortable, get mastered with these 4, and use those like crazy. All right, now let's talk about the bonus tip. Let's talk about the bonus tip. The bonus tip here, and then we're going to talk about what you're going to do next time you head to the golf course. The bonus tip is on ball position. So where should the ball be positioned in the stance when it comes to the 2 different types of clubs that you're primarily hitting? Irons and woods. So with your irons, what you're going to do is you want the ball to be positioned basically in the center of your stance. So what you're going to do is you're going to get set up. We've got some videos on this already. All right, we've got some great videos on this already. So you're going to get set up, put your feet together, put the club down right between your 2 feet like so. And when you're hitting an iron, you're going to separate this towards the target and away from the target equal distance. Let me go through that again. Feet together, club right between where the ball would be, separate, separate. Now I know that the ball is basically in the center of my stance. Now, With a driver, okay, so basically the same thing, but with a driver, what you're going to do is put the feet together, okay, and when you separate, I got my iron here just for purposes of visual, but let's imagine it's my driver, right? I'm set in here, okay, and when I separate, I'm just going to separate a little bit. Notice it's just a tiny step, and then I find my stance with my back foot. Now I know that the ball is more forward in our stance. So with the ball position, with the irons, ball in the middle, with the driver and the 3-woods, definitely a little bit forward. So here's what you're going to do next time you head to the golf course, all right? You've already spent some time doing a little bit of educating yourself on your grip, on your stance. Every shot you hit, you're going to focus on your balance. Your knees are going to touch. You are going to master these 4 clubs. These might be the only 4 clubs you hit. Try it out one time. Go to the golf course and play around the golf and hit nothing but your 3-wooder driver off the tee, on the par 4s, obviously, par 5s. After that, hit nothing but a 6-iron or a 7-iron, okay? Chip it and putt it and see what you shoot. My guess is, and report back, leave a comment. Hey, I tried this, it worked, or I tried this, colossal failure. I don't care. I want to hear from you either way. All right. And then last but not least, understand your course management. If you do these things, you're going to start to break 100. And more importantly, you're going to start to enjoy golf a little bit more.